Hi guys, welcome to the flight today, as we're going to be doing a flight in the 747-200 Felis from Schiphol, going down to Tenerife, north to Los Radios, where we're going to be coming in for the ILS 30. Once we get to the VOR for Tenerife, we're then going to basically turn off the receiver, run it through manually as we track outbound from the VOR, and then we'll do the 12 DME right hand turn arc, which will bring us in for runway 30. So, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Leave your comments down below any future flights you'd like to see with the 747. And now we can get inside the cockpit and get ready to start the aircraft up, ready for our departure out of runway 24. Here we are in the 747-200 now, where we can start to do our power up checklist. So we go to the flight engineers panel, get the battery on and guarded. We can test out the battery and the APU, which is okay. So we'll go and get the GPU on, which is set. The relay switches are closed, and we've got the split system brake light illuminates, which is correct. From there, we've got the auxiliary power unit, which we can go test the squib test. We can go test the fire test, which will be checked. So we can go and put that to start, which will get the APU on and ready. APU oil quantity 2.5 quarts, which is checked. APU bleed is off. Master APU can go to start, which is checked. We have got the EGT and RPM starting to rise as well, which is checked. Recirc 1 can go on, which is also confirmed. Zone air temps and the master trim air switch can go on. So for the temperature, I'm going to leave them all, which is fine. Isolation valve bleed test. So as the APU now is coming over, we'll just wait for that to come down to stabilize, and we'll get the APU bleed on, and we can do the isolation test as well. So they should be all good now for us to come over. So we'll switch over the APU, we'll get the APU bleed on. As you can see now, the PSI is rising in the ducts. So we'll turn off at number 1, and we'll see the PSI start to decrease. Turn off number 2, and we'll also see that start to decrease as well. So 1 and 3 isolation valve test is checked. Reset vans if needed. Flight director, which can go on. We can get the packs on now, which are checked, and the ACMs for all 3 are there as well. So we can see them all coming up. After that, we've got the flight directors, which are off. The INS we can go and program. So we'll go to align 1, 2, 3, which is checked. Radio master bus can go on. We'll get the window heat on and voice recorder. So that's checked and set. From there, we'll do our Mach airspeed warnings, looking over rotation, and the stall warning test, which is also set and checked. Auto brake is off, and we've got the anti-skid, which is off, and the body gear steering, which can go to arm, which is all checked as well. So there we go. So that's all in armed and set. Galley power can now all go on. Which is checked, and we get the gaspers etc. on as well with 1, 2, 3 and 4. Number 1 can come off now, which is checked. So from there, the INS now can get ready and set to go. So we'll go down onto the panel, we'll get all our panel, okay, which is in, and we can now go to our waypoints. So we'll see if they all went in. If not, we'll have to just put them all up quick individually. So north 521888, and we've got east 4460. Okay, we'll insert that, as then we can get them all aligned and leave, and we don't have to worry about anything else. 52188. And we've got east 4460. So that's all set now for the INS. We're going to get our waypoints in. We've got the VORs for the majority of the journey until we get to the arrival star, where we're going to break off at the Tenerife VOR. So right now we're just going to get in the VORs. It's just mainly VORs all the way down into Tenerife until we get to the star, which is going to lead us into Conba for the arrival. We'll break away at Tenerife VOR, then we'll follow it down on the pattern to come in for the 12 DME arc down into runway 30. So for the first waypoint, we've got Charlie Oscar Alpha for the Costa, which is north 51209, which is set, and that's going to give us east 3213. Okay, 3213 is set. I'm just going to light the panels up. Down for waypoint number 2, we've got Diageo, which is the Lima Golf Lima, north 48474. And we've got east 318. On for waypoint number 3, we've got Nantes, which is going to be north 47097. And we've got east 1368. Waypoint number 4 for Ves is going to be north 43334. And we got west 6004. Waypoint number 5 is going to give us to the Echo Sierra Papa VR, which is north at 38254. And we've got west 9111. Waypoint number 6 is going to be Nev2, which is north at 32587. And we've got west 13147. Waypoint number 7 for Combo, which is on the arrival star, north at 31180. And we've got down west 15181. Waypoint number 8 for Gurkha, which is north at 30260. And we've got 1551510. Waypoint number 9, which is on top of descent, which is north at 30076. And we've got west 16025. So there's only 2 waypoints, which is Brick and the Tenerife VOR. So if I show you the arrival in, you'll understand where we're going to come from. So we're going to come from Comba, where we're then going to reach down, straight down to Brick. Now once we get to Brick, then we're going to track inbound onto the 180, which is going to take us to the Tenerife North VOR, which is Tango Foxtrot November. Once we get there, that is the start of the arrival for the ILS Zulu for runway 30, where we're then going to track outbound from the Tenerife North VOR onto the 115. Once we get to around 12 nautical miles, so around 11 nautical miles, we're then going to basically make a right hand turn, which is to intercept down onto the 295 for the ILS. So it's a nice and simple arrival in, and it's nice to use the VOR navigation as well. So we've got that all set in. We're going to basically, the Seaver's got everything in up to Brick, to Gunka, and then once we come down we just need to put in Brick, and then we've got the Tenerife VOR. So that's all on the Seaver side all set out. All of the Seavers are ready. We can go and get the standby power, which is checked. We can go and do all of our fuel reset and check all the valves, etc. Once they all come into life, we can do our hydraulic test, which is checked. Get the right pump for number 4 on, galley power's on, the flight level is going to be set for 360, so we're going for 370. Over on the altimeters we've got down for the METARs at 1023. Okay, 1023, and we get 1023 in. Okay, 1023, which gives us just 3021. Okay, 3021, which is set. Okay, 30221, which is set. 1023. So we'll do the outflow valve test now, which we checked. Go to manual, close left, we'll close right, go back to manual left, manual right, and we'll go back to auto, which is all set. Going overheat now, we can test all of our system tests, which are all set and checked. From there, on the rest of the checklist, equipment cooling valve is normal and closed, which is set, and the blower selector switch is normal. No F-line is extinguished. Number 4 pump switch is to auto, which is checked. Low pressure light extinguished, normal brake, normal guard closed, and source select switch closed as well, so that is all checked. The Jetson panel is closed as well, which is all set for us. We've got 1 and 3 tanks which are on, so we may as well get the boost pumps all on now, as we can get everything all set. There's nothing really in them ones, so we can keep them off, and everything's all good there. Autopilot's off. Speed bugs now. We'll go into the tablet and we'll get all of our speeds as we're going to leave out today. So from the load sheet we are pretty much pretty much the same. There's not much difference, merely 1 degree of knots in speed. So we're going to be leaving out flaps 20, we can do flaps 10 as we'll blast out today. 150, we've got 161, we've set the speed bugs, so we'll see them all there now. 161 will plus 10 that to 171, which will be set with the runway heading for runway 24, which is going to give us out on our runway, which is the 237. So there's a 237 set. Once we leave out, looking down on the routing for the first waypoint, we've got the 110.5. It's going to track us inbound to the 215. Okay, 215, which is set. Don't really need the right side, but we'll just put it on there just anyway. So there's 215, which is set. We're going to go straight up to flight level 33, and then we're going to step climb it up to 36. Altitude select, which is armed and checked. Flight directors can now go on, which are also set and checked. Seatbelt signs can now go on, as we are already, and we'll light up the overhead panel just to get some lighting in. MCP initial altitude set, altitude select mode start, galley power can now go off, and we are now ready for our engine start checklist. So only before go down on the first officer. So we'll start out now.
On. APU panel.
Checked.
Check. Auxiliary power. Check. Engine oil quantity. Check. Fuel quantity 65844 kilograms. Fuel panel. Check and set. Pressurization controls. Check and set. Bleed controls. Let's see. Check and set. Hydraulic quantity.
Check.
EPR computer. Wait.
Okay, so I've got to go around. There we go.
This.
Oops, let's do it again.
Circuit breakers. Check. Indicator lights. Check. Electrical panel. Check and set. Air conditioning controls. Check and set. Fire control and wing overheat panels. Check and set.
Glide slope.
Equipment
Glide
cooling.
slope.
Check. Passenger oxygen.
Checked.
Check. Hydraulic panel.
Checked.
Wait. Check and set. Fuel jettison panel. Check. Crew oxygen. On. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. ADPs off. Checklist completed.
Okay, so checklist is completed. So what we can do is we'll go and call the pushback and get our tugging around the next waypoint coming out.
Shocks removed.
Number 2, we've got the Lima Golf Lima, which is the 11270. Okay, which is set. Come to life after takeoff, which will be all set for us. Engine start switch, so we can get our beacons on now, logo lights along with our starts. So we've got the nabs as well, which can now open up the start valve. Start valve can go on. Okay, so we are now all ready to go, so I'm going to release the
Parking brake released.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
So you can see that we've got the ground steering, which is armed as well. As we now push back, and we are going to go for engine
Starting
number 1.
engine 1. Start valve open.
Start valve open, which is checked. We can lock the cockpit door now. So we see N2 increasing now for number 1. Once it gets to 20%, we'll get the flight engineer shout out 20% N1, and then we'll start to increase the fuel, and then we'll see the EGT start to increase. All pressures now come into life. 20% coming in.
20% N2. Fuel on. Light up.
So N2 is now rolling, and engine number 1 is now coming to life. Okay, so we'll go for engine number 2.
Valve open.
Okay, so N2 is now coming to life, and what we'll do is we'll take it outside so you can see engine number 2 now starting.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
So we go ahead and set a parking brake. Okay, so after start checklist, we can go over to the flight engineer's panel. We can check all the voltages which are set and confirmed. Gen light resets can be closed now. 1, 2, 3 and 4. System breaker lights can be out and set. We can get the packs all back on now, which are checked. Bleeds are all on and set. APU bleed is off along with the APU. So the APU bleed with the APU, which will be set, and we are all now good to go. ESS AC bus is norm, which is checked. Galley power all on, which can go all on now. Packs 1, 2 and 3 which are on, check the ACM, so ACMs are all good within range. Hydraulics can all go on now. Over on the cargo
is
side,
disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
And we've got everything all set there over for us to go. So we're just waiting now for him to take us away. Takeoff flaps and flight directors etc. can now go on. So we've got a flight director which is on. So we're going to be coming out for a flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
Which should be set. After our flap setting, everything's all ready to go. Flight directors are both on. Flight pitch can go to 10 degrees. Which is set. Anti-ice is off. Takeoff stabilizer is 4. Just leave it a little bit up. There we go. So we've got it there set to 4. Transponder probe heats now can go on. Transponder set power up to runway 24. So we're going to come out, we're going to take this right hand turn. Once we follow it down, we're going to get down to runway 24. As you can see, we're going to cut now through to Alpha, which for us is going to be the second left. So everything is all set for takeoff. We're going to intercept onto the 215. I'm going to put the courses in for the Lima Golf Lima as well, so then we can track that out once we come down. So as we follow around the bend now, we're just going to follow it down, and then we're going to take one more right hand turn, where we'll then be lined up for runway 24. 24 was right in front of us, but we're just going to basically turn off to the right, so then we can't get in. As you can see, we're going to go right down. So follow it down, make a slight right hand turn at the end, and then onto a left. we'll be able to line up. EPR is armed with takeoff drive, which is also set and checked. And follow out of the runway heading onto 237. As we're going to be intercepting the 215, so it's merely going to be just a 20-degree left turn after takeoff. We've got all of our speeds which are in and set, and we can check that over on the takeoff. So takeoff, we're going to start retracting. Flaps 10 will be 174. So as soon as this is our runway here, here's our slight little left, and this should be the Sierra 7. So cabin crew prepare for departure. So just as we go over now, I'm going to go overhead, put the runway turn off lights on, strobes can go on which are set, wings can stay off which are set and checked. Ding the cabin one last time to let them know that we are going. Can turn all of our packs off which are checked as we now line up for runway 24. (161) plus 10, we've got 171 for V2 plus 10 as we leave out onto the 237. Okay, so here we are now, which we are all ready to go. Body gear, steering and can be now armed, which is set. Get a parking brake on quickly so we can just go through a few things. Set. So landing lights will be coming on. We've got our before takeoff checklist as well, which we can go through. So taxis all been done. We've got everything all here, which is all good for us. Before takeoff checklist.
Icing considerations.
Checked.
Check. Cabin alert. Check. Transponder.
Checked.
Check. Ignition. Damn. Flight start. Body gear steering.
Disarmed.
Disarm. Pack valves.
Closed.
Closed. Pressurization mode selector.
Also.
Auto. Fuel boost pumps.
On.
On. Cross feed valves.
Checked.
Check. Before takeoff checklist completed.
Okay, so takeoff checklist is completed. Got the 215, checking out on the routing on the charts for the lateral coordinates. Coming in for the Lima Golf for Lima, which is the 11270. We're going to be intercepting that onto the 222. So, coming in on the 215 and the 222. So we are now all ready for takeoff, guys. So we'll go ahead, we'll put all of our landing lights on, which are checked. We can release the parking brake.
Parking brake released.
And we'll power up to 1.10 on the EPR. Should get a stabilized call out. Anywho, 40% and
stabilized.
Toga.
Thrust set.
Checked. Airspeed live.
80 knots.
Checked. Throttle hold. 100 ease back on the column.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Okay, so just climb out. So we hold on for our speed. We can go up to 250, which should be checked.
Gears up.
Gear is up, so put the autopilot on. Go up to vertical speed. We've got arm select, which is in, and for the vertical climb out over 3,000 feet. As we're now just getting ready to go up to our flaps 5. Now we just slowly climb up, so we can see 75 nautical miles away from the Charlie Oscar Alpha. We can put the VOR lock in as well, as it is going to basically track us in for the 215. So as the aircraft now does that, we can go up to a flaps 5 setting.
Flaps 5.
Once we hit flaps 1, then we'll hit it in climb, as we have got some weight today going through 3,300 feet. VOR lock is in now to track inbound onto the Charlie Oscar Alpha. VOR onto the 215. Then from the 215 we'll then be hitting the Lima Golf Lima, which will be for the 221, which is set. So we're currently 73 nautical miles. As we're just climbing up now for our flaps 1, going to leave the aircraft like this as we get a nice smooth climb out, as we are slowly increasing with our speed. Currently just under around 14 degrees of pitch, passing through 5,004, and we're climbing at a rate of around 3,500 feet per minute. So the VOR lock's in now. The aircraft's going to basically move us over to the left, and we can leave VOR lock pretty much in, but once we do come through for the Charlie Oscar Alpha, I'm then going to set up the sealer, and you guys can then see it in action. So we can see the needle now slowly starting to move over to the left, passing through 6,007. I'm going to put the QNHs now back to 1013. Okay, 299 at 2, which is set. 299 at 2, which is also set. And over on the first officer's side at 299 at 2, which will be in. So the aircraft's now going to make a left-hand turn. We can slowly start to now decrease the aircraft to around about 2,000 feet per minute. So now it can start to climb out, and we can speed up as we pass the acceleration height. Aircraft's going to move into a slight left turn. Once we get around to flaps 1, which will be just under 220, then we're going to go into our climb speed. We'll keep the EPR on, and then once the flaps are fully retracted, then we'll activate the speed out, and then the aircraft will go to its maximum climb out and hold the 250. So we're just near now for flaps 1. I just checked, so flaps 1 is now coming
Flaps
in.
1.
Gear can now come off, and we can now get all of the packs back on as well, so we can provide pressurization to the aircraft. So there's the left turn now coming in, as we are going to track into the 215, which is set, and we can now go to climb power. So you hear the throttles now start to reduce.
10,000.
10,000 set, so landing lights can all come off, runway turn-offs can come off. As the aircraft's now slowly starting to move to the left as we come in for the 215 to track it inbound. So we can do our after takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Gear lever. Off. Landing and logo lights.
Off.
Off. Ignition. Check. Seatbelts and no smoking sign. Check. Pack valves. Open.
Check.
Fuel heat. This.
Okay, so fuel heat can now load to auto.
Auto. After takeoff
Checked.
checklist completed.
10 degrees, so we can now stick the anti-ice on. After takeoff checklist is complete, and we are now tracking in for the Charlie Oscar Alpha VOR. So, passing through 12,000 feet now, on our way up for flight level 360, or 33 in, and we'll step climb up to 360. And as we are now up to our flaps up, we can now tell the EPR mode to go into its speed climb. So now the aircraft will start to pitch up to its maximum bank angle, or pitch angle, should I say, and it will hold at just over around 250. So we've got around 255. Can lower the pitch of the aircraft as we are going to start to climb up. So 255 as we pass 10. So what we can do is keep it back in speed. We'll speed up now to 300. Vertical speed can stay in as we're slowly going to start to speed up. Once we get to 300, then we'll initiate the speed mode, which is the IAS. and once we've done that, basically the aircraft's going to hold the indicated airspeed as long as it's in EPR mode. So once we put that to EPR mode, then the aircraft will hold. So EPR and MAC mode, pretty much look at the auto throttle mode as with EPR mode and MAC mode. Once you activate that, it will hold wherever your speed is, and pretty much it won't matter if you change the auto throttle speed, as your throttle speed will engage once speed is engaged, like now. So we can have control of our speed, but once we hit the EPR or the MAC mode, so MAC will be in for cruise, the aircraft will hold that MAC setting, as will be at our altitude select. So just bear that in mind. Once you activate these two, the autopilot will hold the speed that you're currently at. Once you're in speed, then you're free to basically use the auto throttle speed, but with the EPR and MAC, you'll be able to go into the IAS mode and MAC mode, but in speed mode you won't be able to. So we're in speed mode now, as I'll show you guys quickly. So we're in speed mode, and we're going to go to our full climb out and ask it to do its full pitch. So if I go to IAS mode now, it will disconnect the auto throttle, as we cannot have both engaged at the same time. So, but now what you're going to see is, once we get to our climb speed here, I've just got a few bits of wind in the vicinity. As you see, 294 at 31. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to start my climb out now. So if I hit EPR, the aircraft's going to hold that speed which was just set. And if I go into speed mode now, the auto throttle won't disconnect. It doesn't matter now what is in here. The aircraft is now going to hold the speed that we activated it at, and now go into its max climb that it can possibly do for us on the systems. So everything is all set for us pretty much. We're 45 nautical miles from the Charlie Oscar Alpha, and seeing as we are still going from 0 to 1, if we wanted to switch over the INS now, we could switch over, go to INS. Now the aircraft's basically going to do exactly what we just did. It's going to track in just a little bit closer. So 0 to 1, and we can put in 1 to 2, which we'll get in just a few moments time. The aircraft's just realigning itself, so we'll let it do that, as we are now ready to come inbound to our lovely Tenerife. So now the aircraft's going to realign itself with the INS, as we've got the INS in, and INS is over on our roll mode. 330's in, passing through 20,000 feet. QNH is set back to 29902, and we are all ready and set coming out on our departure. So that is pretty much the departure for the 747-200, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, support the channel in every way possible, and I'll see you after the takeoff cinematics as we come to our top of descent, ready to come into Tenerife for the ILS Zulu from runway 3. Hi guys, welcome back to the flight deck. We're currently at flight level 350. We are now tracking on the 240 heading, and we're going to intercept onto the 176 to come in for the VOR, which is going to bring us down towards the airport. That is currently the Lima Romeo Oscar VOR, which is the 1162, which is currently in 85 nautical miles. We can see over on the needle we're just at 240, so we are going to cross over to intercept onto the 176. Now once the Lima Romeo Oscar, and we've got the Tango Foxtrot November, once this VOR comes into play on the 1177, which we've got over on the DME number 2, that is when we are going to basically switch over and we'll then intercept that VOR for the 176. And as you can see, we're basically then going to switch the VOR. Once we get the 1177 in, we're basically going to track that inbound to 176. Once we get down to the VOR, I'm going to make a left turn onto the 115. We'll use head and select, or we could track outbound with the VOR lock. Then once we get to 12 DME, we're pretty much then going to make a right-hand turn, max 185 on to intercept 295 for the 110.3. So there's a few things that we're going to do as we get the aircraft prepared. We are now getting ready to pass over. As we can see, the needle is slowly starting to move down, so we are lining up now ready to intercept. Once we do, then we'll wait for the Tenerife VOR, which is the Tango Foxtrot November, to come in on DME number 2, and then we'll switch over to 1177 onto DME number 1, and then we'll track that inbound onto the 176. So I'll put the VOR lock, which is already pre-armed, as it is going to come over now. As we can see, the needle is slowly starting to creep away, so we are just coming inbound 75 nautical miles. Once we come in, we'll take auto brake medium. Once we come down, anti-ice is on. VOR lock will intercept and then track inbound onto 176. We're going to have to alter the heading. Got 1022 coming down for the QNH. Few clouds at 400, scattered at 1500, visibility is 10 kilometers or more. Current wind 16 knots from north to west. And 30016 on our speed. So there is the 1177. So I'm going to put the 117 in now, which is the 1177. Now we see the needle there. So now we can switch it over onto the actual Tenerife VOR, which we're going to use it in for the start today. So we're going to start our top of descent. We're going to be coming down for 5,000, and then we'll drop down into 4,003. So we'll start our top of descent now. Okay, 5,000, which will be set. Slowly start to slow our speed down. 260, and we can go into vertical speed, and we'll start to slow the aircraft now, ready for us to descend down. So we'll switch into speed mode now. We'll see the throttles now start to idle back as we'll go for 260, which we've set in on the MCP altitude. 240 coming in, needle slowly moving down now, and then once we get in, we'll be inbound onto our final VOR, ready for the arrival star. So on for the descent checklist, which we can start to get ready. So we are in vertical speed mode. We've got speed, which is on the EPRL mode, which is engaged. There's a VOR lock coming in now to intercept for the 176, which is going to bring us down to the Tenerife VOR on the 11770. Passing 10,000 feet, we'll have seatbelt signs, etc., which are on and checked. Currently 60 nautical miles away from the airport, so I'm going to slow down to 250 so we can start to get the descent right down in. You can have a look at the speed brakes as well. So as we start to descend down, the aircraft's now lining itself up. As we now start to descend down through flight level 350, we're now going down for 5,000 feet. As we start to slow the aircraft right way down, over on our ground speed, we've got 450 as we're slowly decelling now. and we're coming down for around 2,000 feet per minute, which is set. So we can now descend down just a little bit more, which is then going to slow us down as we're not speeding up just as yet. So just coming down for around 3,000 feet per minute. Come down on a wicked descent today. After that, fuel heat passing 10,000 feet will be turned off. But the radar 4 to 6 degrees, as we didn't have it, it was clear weather anyway, so it wasn't really much of a problem. As we're slowly coming through now, speed brakes can come in, and we'll just slowly start to lift up a little. So for around 2,500 feet, we should slowly start to decel. Over on our winds, we can check the winds right now, 248 at 7. As the aircraft's going to slowly start to decel. So if we lift up just around another 500 feet to 2,000 feet, we'll just start to slowly decel, and then we can go back down to 2,500. So passing flight level 296. QNH coming down onto the runway, we said was 1022, so I'm just going to change this one quickly. So we've got 3018. Okay, so go to the flight engineers. 3018, which is in. I'll say 3018, which is also in and checked, which should be for 1022. We'll switch the altimeters over once we pass transition. Which level is going to be for us? We'll say 6,000 feet as we come in. So we're going to come in onto the 176. Once we reach the 176 for 6,000 feet. So I put 6,000 feet, which is in. We'll then make that left-hand turn onto the 115, where we'll track it outbound, and then we can make that right-hand turn when we're 12 DME out. So currently 39 nautical miles now, just passing through flight level 270. Can open the speed brakes now and get the aircraft fully down. So as we slowly now start to decel the aircraft, 37 nautical miles, currently tracking in, passing through 26,005. Can go to our descent checklist.
Approach checklist, please. Seatbelts and shoulder harness.
Check.
Check. Seatbelts and no smoking signs.
On.
On. Anti-ice. Off.
On.
Exterior lights. Check.
Checked.
Outer brakes.
Medium.
Medium. Radio INS switches. Radio. Flight director computer selectors. Check. Brake pressure. Check. Spoilers. Damn. Armed. Altimeters. 1013. Set and cross-check. Landing data, EPR and airspeed bugs. Set and cross-check. Seatbelts and shoulder harness. Check. Fuel panel. Check. Fuel heat. Let's see. Off.
Check.
EPR computer. This. Go around. Cabin altitude.
Checked.
Check. Circuit breakers.
Checked.
Check. Approach checklist completed.
Okay, so the approach checklist is completed. Coming down now, I'm going to get the minimums in as well, which is going to be 2353. That's going to give us a 346. So we'll just put that back. So we'll call it 350. Just right back in, past it to 22,000 feet, 20 nautical miles now from the VORs. We can see lovely Tenerife coming into view. So I'm going to slow all the way down now, 230. You see our ground speed slowly starting to slow now. Temperatures now just coming above. It's just minus at 9. Once we get to 10 degrees, we're going to turn off the anti-ice, and then we'll be all configured to come in. Over on our landing speeds, So for our landing, 240 is clean, flaps 1 is 220 and flaps 5 is 200, so we get them all set in. Put chart in. So we'll stay for 240, which is our clean speed. Speed brakes can now go in. So we're currently 20 nautical miles from the airport. As we just hold out now, we can start to slow down the rate even further. As we come down, we've got the 1177, and what I'm going to also do is now we can get the ILS in, which is going to be the 110.3. 110.3, that will come up in DME2 once it comes alive. Currently now 16 nautical miles, just passing through 19,000 feet. What we'll do is we'll just run a hold just before we get into the VOR, so we can burn off some altitude. We're going to heading, let's get our heading back to where we was, which is currently going to be the 176. So we'll switch over into heading mode. Then what we can do is we can take a right hand turn, and we can set the chrono, and we'll just do 1 minute turns as we come through. Passing through 2,500, 240 is going to be on our clean speed as we just slowly start to decel. So we're just going to basically do a little circuit just so we can basically get back on profile. And from the 270 we'll then go to the 090. So we're just going to follow around. Be from where we was. As it passed now through 15,000 feet. Aircraft slowly slowing down now. It's 240. Low in 1 as we are in idle. Currently coming down, temperature's 5 now. So as we're just basically making a right hand turn away from the VOR, as you can see, we're then going to backtrack onto the 090 and then we'll intercept back in to follow the approach. With these type of aircraft where the systems are very manually input, if you know what you're doing and you know what you're looking for, there isn't really much that can go wrong. I've seen like when you fly the 737 and the aircraft has a funny turn, for instance. This aircraft will only have a funny turn if you do something wrong. So it's as simple as that. It's a really nice aircraft to fly, and if you haven't got into like VOR navigation, etc., this is definitely an aircraft to learn and understand how it all works, because it is absolutely fantastic, this model. And it is a really great aircraft to fly, a proper 747, and the gears fixed, unlike the SSG where the front nose comes down before the gear. Like, this aircraft is the new Zebo for me, so expect to see this quite a bit on the channel along with the other aircraft, as I really do like the 747. So I'm going to open up the speed brakes now. So we're 2 minutes gone. Once we get to 3, then we'll drop down back to the 090. Speed brakes are currently in. We can now just introduce the pitch up a little, which is then going to get our speed down to 240, which is our clean. And flaps 1 will come in at 220. So just passing 10,000 feet now. You can put the landing lights on, which are checked. Coming down for 240 and then 220 for flaps 1. So there's 3. We'll go back now onto the 090.
10,000.
10,000, which is checked. As I make that right hand turn. We'll come back onto the 090, we'll see exactly where we are in relations to the direction of the VOR. So we're going to be coming around for literally around the 030 when we do intercept. And then we've got the 15 as well. So around for 120 is going to be where we'll come in. But I'm not going to move on to the 120 until we get a little bit closer. I just want to backtrack and come straight back onto profile once we intercept. So we're currently 20 nautical miles out now. We're definitely going to get down for 5,000 feet. We can lower our rate of descent up a little bit. Go around, altitude is on, the EPRL mode is set. We've got speed which is engaged. 110.30 is for the ILS, which will come in on DME number 2 once we are set. 240 which is in, and I'm going to take it down to 220 so then we can open up into a flaps 1. So I'm going to open up flaps 1 now.
Flaps 1.
Speed brakes are armed. From the 06 then we'll run pretty much parallel to then intercept in, and then we can put the VOR lock back on as well, which will then intercept us down. So we're going to be coming on to the 090, which is set and checked. It's going to be 23 nautical miles. Can slow our rate of descent down just a bit more. Coming in for the approach checklist.
1,000 level off.
1,000 to level off, 5,000, 6,000 at the VOR is where we want to be. Then we're going to come down to 5,000 once we move out onto the 115. Okay, so there's the altitude alert telling us that the altitude is acquired 1,000 feet below 6,000. Off the approach checklist, we've got the auto throttle mode which is set for speed, which is checked, speed brake which is armed, flaps 5 when approach speed extension. So we'll get into flaps 5 at 200 knots, which is going to be set. We've got all of our bugs which are set as well. VREV 140, we've got flaps 30 145, so a +5 on that which is set and checked. Currently 21 nautical miles now, as we can see where we are parallel to the VOR. So I'm going to put the VOR lock on now, so it's just armed. So once the needle does start to come into play, we then can move on to the 176. As we can see that the VOR is just over to the 123 track, so it's pretty much just around here. So we're just waiting for the VOR to start to move over to the right. Then once it does, we can then get ready to intercept down for the 176. As it starts to move further and further away, then we can start to come in. Flaps 1 is now down, currently holding at 220, and we are 18 nautical miles now from the VOR. As we can see now, the needle is now starting to move down, so we can move now onto the 120. Call it the 115, so we've just got a little bit of space in between us and the VOR. And then once we intercept it, we'll then see the nav go into yellow band, and then we know that the nav is then activated. So we're holding at 6,000 feet now as we're coming in, and we can see even on the Avitab that we are going to get ready to intercept as we come through. 5,000 feet is going to be just before we come in, so we're basically tracking now, just coming in ready to intercept back on for the 176. Once we do that, we hit the 115 and descend down to 5,000 feet. Once we hit 5,000 feet, we're then going to slow down to 4,003, which is 6.9 DME from the India Tango Foxtrot localizer onto the 295 course. So we'll get that all set up and checked. We've got the 110.3, which is in on DME number 2. So once that does come into range and we are out onto the 115 tracking outbound, then we will be all good to go. So currently 14 DME now. And I'm going to slow the aircraft down now into a flaps 5. It's a big airliner, and I want to get the aircraft all ready and prepared for when we do come down. So as we slow down now, we're going to a flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
You may also see as well, if you're flying the 747-200, there'll be a yellow box that will come up that will say Alpha, and you won't be able to lower your speed down either. And what that actually is it's like speed protection. It won't let the altitude drop below a certain speed. So I think for clean up on the approach is something like VREV plus 80 for flaps 1 and so forth. So if you try to go lower than the flap extension, you'll basically pop up Alpha, and then Alpha is basically going to hold the speed until you extend the speed rates or you speed up. So there's a VOR lock coming in now as we intercept down for the 176. We're at 6,000 feet coming in, and the 176 is in ready for us to go. We've got the 115 heading, which we're going to track outbound from the VOR as we are now 6,000 feet and holding. QNHs for 6,000 now are 1022, which we can put back. So there's 1022 and 1022. Which is 3018, put down the first flight engineer's panel, 3018, which is set, 3018, which is also set and checked. So to track now for the 176, we are going to track in for the 115 in just a few moments time. We've got the 115 in, so what we can do is, seeing as we are now tracking the 176, when we get nearer to the airport, we could switch it into heading and then switch the course back, but I'm not going to bother doing that as we're going to track it outbound. As soon as we start to see the VOR needle start to move, then we can start to swing in onto the 115, which is then going to bring us down. So we're right near the VOR. As you can see, coming in for the 176 for 6,000 feet. We wait for DME number 2 to come in, which is the 110.3, which is also in. That's in for the 295. Okay, so 4 DME up. Flaps 5 is in. 185 max, we'll get 12 DME out from the airport. DME. So we're going to hold through, so I'm going to put heading on. I'm going to go to the 135. And I'm going to track outbound now onto the 115, which is going to be set. So put that back into VOR lock. We're going to swing round, as we are right near the VOR anyway, so the VOR lock will come in again. And then we're going to go outbound onto the 115. Okay, so there's the 125. So we are going to come past it at any moment now.
Glide slope alive.
So there's a DME for number 2. As we're leaving away now from the DME. We're just going to basically wait to intercept, so I'm going to come down to our flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
As the VOR then intercepts, we can then track out onto the 115. So there's the VOR now. You should see VOR lock come in. So there's VOR lock. I was just about to move the heading because I didn't think it was going to engage in time. So there's the 115 now as the aircraft now tracks as we're coming outbound and at 12 DME, 12.8 is where we're going to come down in the Tango Foxtrot. We're coming in for the Tango Foxtrot November, so 12 DME is where we're going to make the right hand turn, which is going to bring us onto the 295. So once the aircraft's lined up, we're going to get the aircraft all configured and set, ready to go. So we can now bring in the control column as the aircraft now tracks inbound. We're currently at flaps 10, speed brakes are armed, we've got auto brake set to medium, which is set, body gear steering is disarmed as well, which is also checked. We need to come down for 5,000 feet now, which is also set. And we've got 145 coming in on our VREV speed, flaps 30. So 12 DME, we're then going to turn down onto the 295. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into heading mode in just a few moments. (5,000) altitude select. 12 DME, I'm going to make the turn into heading. I'm just going to keep the DME here until we're just about ready to turn, and then I will put in the ILS frequency as we get ready down for the localizer to intercept. Landing lights are all on and checked. Logo we can put on just for the fun of it. There's 5,000 feet, 8.8 DME away from the Tango Foxtrot November VOR. So we are going to get ready to go. The 110.3 is going to go in just as we go into the right hand turn, ready to intercept for the glide slope. Then we'll activate the ILS system, and then we'll intercept, ready to come down. So there's 10 DME. I'm going to go into heading mode, as I'm going to be switching over in just a few moments time. So it's only moving a few degrees over for wind correction, because it was adjusting itself for the wind. So there's 11 DME. As 12 is coming in for the 110.3, and we're going to now move over to the 295. Also put in the ILS mode as well. Max 185 on the bank. We're at 180. And we want to be coming in for 295, so we can turn over now the courses to 295, which is checked. In radio as well. And then as we get ready to insert the radio, we're going to 295, so we've got 265. Still holding 180, flaps 10. ILS mode is armed. Gear will be ready to come down. So as we just hold through now. As we get ready, we're going to come down for 4,003. Okay, which will be checked. You can see there, we are just getting ready to intercept for the localizer. The ILS is in. There's the localizer captured now. So the aircraft is now pretty much aligned, ready for the
localizer alive.
So localizer is alive. We need to be dropping down for 4003, which we've got set. There's 4003 set now with the altitude select. The ILS is going to start at 6.9 DME. Okay, so go down to our 160. Flaps 20 can now be engaged.
Flaps 20.
So I'm just getting the aircraft configured early so we can get everything done and it's not a rush, as we haven't got all of the lovely navigational displays that we have in the 737 to help us along, so we can already see and plan. What we've got is our DMEs, our HSI, and our lovely little instruments that are ready. So we've got QNHs which is set for 1022, which is set in cross-checks. We've got 345 which is set in for the decision height as we come through. From there we've got the flight engineer side, which is all done as well, 301A, and we've got it down on the barrow, which is also set and checked. Packs are currently on, landing lights are on as well, and we've just got runway turnoffs to come in. There's a glide slope now currently coming down, and we can now drop the gear down. And we've got our runway turnoff lights on as well, and we'll go down to our approach checklist.
Landing checklist.
Gear.
Okay, so gear is coming down.
Gears down, green light. Down and check.
Down and check. Flaps.
Flaps 30
Hold
is
on.
now in.
Flaps 30. Flaps
4145.
25.
Flaps 25. Ignition.
Damn.
Okay, ignition. It's flight start.
Flight start.
Anti-skid.
Checked.
Check.
Altimeters.
Checked.
1, 0, 2, 2. Set and cross-checked. Landing checklist completed.
Okay, so landing checklist is complete. We are all set now to come in. The ILS is fully established now. We've got the localizer, which is both nav and the glide slope. So we're now passing through 3,400 feet, currently 3.8 DME away. As you can see, the descent down, currently descending around 1,000 feet per minute, and in just a few moments time we are now going to disengage the autopilot and get ready and set. So all of our checklists are done and we are pretty much ready to come in. So autothrottle mode is speed, we've got speed brake which is armed, flap steady is down and set. We are established on the glide path and we are also locked down for the gear. Landing lights, runway turn-offs are on and checked. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to disconnect the autopilot and the auto throttle, and now I have control of the plane. Going down at 1,000 feet per minute. Try not to lose the glide slope as we are quite high up in the 747, so it does look like we are higher than we really are. And you see we've got a little bit of wind. So we've got run red at the moment, coming down for around 1,000 feet per minute.
$1,000.
Check.
Terrain. Approaching minimums.
Pull up.
Minimums.
Continue.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10. Check reverse.
Okay, speed brakes are up. And reverses are active. Reverses can be stowed now, coming down at 60 knots. All the brakes can now be disarmed as well. And here we are, guys, down in a lovely Tenerife. So that was a really nice flight. That was the navigation was really nice to do as well. I just want to get into more and more VOR flying. So as now we come off, we can retract the speed brakes, which will be set back in, and we get our flaps all retracted as well. So get a body gear steering as well, ready for taxi. So just move it over just a little, there we go, so we can get the fully geared, disarmed. We can turn off the runway lights, taxis can go on, runway tunnels can go off as well. As we now get ready to leave and come out onto Tenerife's gate.
Flaps up.
So we're now going to make that right hand turn. And here we are, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the flight. I'm going to leave you with the landing cinematics, so don't forget to like and subscribe if you love the flights, and I'll see you very soon for the next available flight on the channel. So take care for now, guys, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.